Casey, I'd love for you to spend some time today, if you may, just talking about closing. You know, I know when you were in Calgary a few months past, you know, I was enlightened with many of your tips and nuggets, and that's what I really like you to talk to the team about today is really that art of closing. You know, I see it happening in 3 different stages, so I'm hoping that you can maybe base on that. You know, we come across closing when we're in a meeting or in a CJM, in our one-on-ones, and obviously on our 3-way calls. So I was hoping that you could maybe just touch base on those topics and give us your nuggets and tips about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope you have your pen and paper because when I get excited and I get fired up, sometimes I can talk kind of quickly. But I'm telling you what, the art of closing is so much fun because it's an essential skill that you have, and you can use your own voice, your own passion, your personality, who you are. This is one of the things that I love about presenting and closing because this is the opportunity for you to let who you are shine through and then tie that in and kind of merge that and marry that with a skill set for you to really have the best success and the most effective results that you can when it comes to the art of closing. So one of the things I want to talk about first of all is begin with the end in mind. It is easier to close, and by close we mean just having the posture to ask the right questions to find out if somebody's joining the organization, where they're getting started, and when. And so along with that posture of having the confidence to ask the right questions at the right time, you've got to know where you're going. You've got to have your goals, because if I go through these details and some of the skill set that I'm going to talk about, but you don't have your goal written down, you don't have Diamond by Convention written down on a piece of paper, you don't have $1 million earner in the year 2012 written down on a piece of paper, or whatever your goal looks like. Maybe it's Ruby in July. Whatever your goal looks like, if you don't have that written down, maybe it's becoming Ben's Club qualified if you operate in a country where those qualifications apply to you. If you don't have them written down, you'll find yourself using some of the skills I'm going to talk about, and you'll still be frustrated because you're not going to have the most effective results. So make sure that you have those goals, and I know that Mr. Stephen and Miss Rhonda and Miss Marianne, they know and understand the power of writing down your goals, being specific and exact in both date and time and quantity and all those things. So if you're struggling or challenged with that, get with one of them and have them help you, because what I'm going to do today is focus on the skill set of how to close. You know, everything rises and falls on leadership, and one of the things that I know we have leaders, we have, I believe it's platinums or 2-star platinums and above only on the line right now, is your people will come to you as the leader a lot of times to do the close. A lot of times you are the third-party verification that they're coming to. And as exciting as that is, sometimes it's kind of intimidating because you're like, well, what am I supposed to say? I'm going to give you a couple of options of things that we've used to incredible results over the course of the last 3 years that will develop not only the confidence but the effectiveness in making sure that people that are ready to get started are getting started in your business the right way. So it's all about, if you're taking notes, make sure that you write down, it's all about the questions that you ask. See, the quality, when somebody's deciding to join your business and they're picking their pack, getting them involved in the business is all about the quality of your communication. Your communication is a direct quality of the questions that you ask. So if you're taking notes, write down that the person who asks the most questions is in control of the conversation. So let me give you an example of something not to do. What a lot of people do, they make the number one mistake. This is a mistake that most people make, is they give away all of their power right away. The plan just finished being closed out, had an awesome presentation, you sit down, and let's say that Rhonda is my guest and I've invited her to a meeting, the presentation's over, and I turn to her and I say, do you have any questions? And so what I have done is I realize that the person who asked the most questions is in control of the conversation, and I've given the control to my prospect or my new friend or my potential business partner, and I've given them control of the conversation. And we can't have that because as a leader, they're there for a specific purpose, and it's your job to make sure that you direct them the way that you need them to go. Because not every time that you close somebody and do it effectively and do it right, does that mean that they're going to get involved. But as you develop those skills of asking the right questions, you'll find incredible things taking place. So, Rhonda, I hope I still have you on the line, and we'll do a little bit of role-playing here because sometimes that's the best example. So let's say the meeting has closed out. Rhonda here is my guest. I'm going to turn to her, and the first question, I'm going to dive right into the information. Another mistake really quick that a lot of people make besides turning over their power, don't turn to your person and ask them, do you have any questions, because you've lost control. But another mistake that people make is they stand up or they offer to get them another cup of coffee and they leave them in that prime moment. The purpose of the presentation, the 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour and 10 minutes that was just spent explaining the plan, is to prime them for you to ask them these questions I'm going to teach you right now. So if you get up, you stand up, and you leave your prospect, you missed your moment. You missed your moment. You got to have the confidence to stay sitting down right next to them, turn to them, create a little half circle if you have more than one person. I'm going to talk about that as well, how to close if there's one of you and 5 guests. I'm going to talk about that. But let's say the meeting is over, and I turn to Rhonda, who in this example is my guest. The first question I'm going to ask her, and yes, it really is this simple. Rhonda, based on what you just heard and saw, what did you like best?
Well, I like the money the best.
You like the money. Expound on that for me. What does that mean? What does that mean to you that you liked the money?
Well, to be honest, I really like the fact that I can make $20,000 per week as a diamond consultant.
Really? You like the fact that you could make $20,000 per week? What would you do with $20,000 a week, Rhonda?
Well, I'd probably do a lot of things I'm not doing right now. I'd probably be able to do a job and, be able to spend more time at home with my kids.
Well, that's great that you brought that up. You're looking at $20,000 a week for the opportunity to leave your job and spend more time with your kids. So, Rhonda, let me ask you one more question. Based on the fact that you're looking at $20,000 a week as an opportunity to stay home with your kids and leave behind your job, where do you see yourself getting started with us tonight? Do you see yourself getting started at the bronze, at the silver, or at the gold?
Well, for me, I'd probably need, if I'm really going to get going on here, I'd probably need some products, so maybe a silver or...
Awesome. Awesome. The silver pack for now. Well, what we'll do is we'll show you how to upgrade to the gold, possibly to leave as a gold pack tonight. We'll go through some things. But I have your application here. Rhonda, how do you want your name spelled on your checks?
Oh, Rhonda.
Awesome. Now, the product that you're buying, it's going to get shipped to you in about 5 or 7 days. It will arrive at your doorstep. Which address would you like me to send it to?
123 Disneyland.
123 Disneyland. Awesome, awesome. Now, is that the same address that you would like to that you're going to have your information billed to when you continue to reorder
Yes.
products, as you're going to need more products because we're going to show you how to move yours right away?
Yes, that's where everything needs to go.
Awesome. Now, Rhonda, as you're getting your silver pack this evening, we do accept MasterCard and Visa. Which one are you going to be using?
Visa.
A Visa typically starts with a 4. What are the next 13 numbers after that, or the next 15 numbers after that 4?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Awesome. Well, now that we've completed your application, the one other piece of information I'm going to need for you is what you want your website to be, because we're going to have incredible things taking place using the Internet to your advantage so that you can go ahead and start building up that $20,000 a week of what we're going to shoot for. And we'll go through that details later, but we're going to pick out your website right now. And then you would give me your website. We have a completed application. And I know it seems this simple, you guys, but if you're asking the questions, they pick from what's on the menu. If you ask them, did you like it, they can give you yes or no. Well, I don't want to give them the opportunity to tell me no. I'm going to ask them, what did you like best? I need them to give me some kind of positive response. Sometimes, believe it or not, I had somebody once tell me, I love the PowerPoint. It was so detailed and so beautiful. I'm in love with the PowerPoint. I'm like, great, so is details important to you? Is that what you're telling me? Again, I'm asking another question. And they say, yeah, I really like systems and details. Well, based on the fact that you just told me that we have the right system and details for you, where do you see yourself getting started tonight? Bronze, silver, or gold? The only 3 options for them are bronze, silver, and gold. If I ask them, do you see yourself getting started tonight? They could tell me, no, I don't see me getting started tonight. So I ask them, where do you see yourself getting started tonight? Do you see yourself joining us tonight? And you want to use those words because you want to create a sense of high priority. Not urgency so much, but high priority of getting started right now. Because one of the things that's going to happen, you'll find that when you ask it this way, Are people still going to have questions? Absolutely. But what happens is they'll ask those questions for you to answer them after you've already filled out their application. So keeping in line with the person who asks the questions is in control of the conversation, I continue to ask them as I fill out their application, what name would you like on your application? What name would you like your checks issued to? What email address are you going to use? And you want to be really accurate because the checks you are going to be receiving, the power of suggestion, the checks you are going to be receiving get wire transferred to you. So you want to make sure we have an accurate email address. You're going to continue to ask them questions. Once you have a completed application, you're going to number it or put the time that you were finished so it's official. And then it's okay to ask. Are there things that you have questions about after their application is already filled out? If you ask them before they filled out the application, what can happen is that all of a sudden they would have gotten started that night. Maybe it's a Tuesday night meeting, and then you're looking at Saturday, Sunday, or maybe for the following Tuesday that they actually fill out their application. And you can't allow them to go a whole week without getting their product pack, because once they get their product pack at the door, that's when they're going to start moving product into the market, and that's when you're able to have them get those stories that return to them, get coffee sold, start receiving an income, and really start sowing those seeds that keeps them here. And really, instead of them being in OG starts to get in them, and then it's a whole new animal. So it's really, really important that you ask those questions. I always ask, what did you like best about it? So if somebody is hearing the information on a conference call, I don't say, what did you like best about what you saw? I say, what did you like best about what you heard? What did you like best? What piqued your interest the most about what you just heard, saw, listened to, whatever? And then you're going to actually listen to them. Don't be thinking about what you want next. It's really important. You're sitting down. You're engaged in a conversation. You're interviewing them to join your business. Most of you think it's the other way around, that they're interviewing you. No, it's your business. You're looking for winners. You're looking for champions. You're looking for people that have the right personality. And what I mean by the right personality, you're looking for the ethical, happy people that are willing to be coachable. So you're interviewing them. Just knowing that, your posture will be different when you ask that you do that. What did you like best? Whatever it is they tell you, whether it's the money, whether it's the health product, whether it's whatever, you repeat that back to them like this. Based on the fact that you're excited about making more money, where do you see yourself getting started tonight? I know it seems overly simple, but that's exciting because you can teach a brand new person how to do this. Have a lady that I work with. I've never personally met her, but her sponsor quit, left this beautiful champion with me. I've never met her before. She's never seen the plan, but did a mixer. She did her own CJM out in Tennessee by herself and was able to close out the room because I could teach her this in a matter of 30 minutes or less. Even though she's brand new, she's closing people out in her own home, and I've never even met her because anybody can be taught to say, what did you like best about what you heard? What did you like best about what you saw? And where do you, based on that, where do you see yourself getting started tonight? Bronze, silver, and gold. Again, when you go to McDonald's, you don't order a Whopper. Why? It's not on the menu. You're giving them choices, bronze, silver, or gold. And I promise you, if you do that and you let the silence hang, even if it's slightly uncomfortable for you, if it takes them a second to answer, they will answer. Let them be the one to fill the silence after you ask a question. Because what they're doing is they're looking for you to lead them, and leaders lead with the right question. So it's very, very important that you just keep it that simple. Now let's say somebody said, well, I like the plan and I like the information, but I'm going to have some questions. And I'll say, great. Before I ask him what questions, him or her, before I ask Rhonda, let's go back to this example. Let's say Rhonda said, I love the money, but I have some questions because I don't understand everything. I'm going to say, great, Rhonda. Really quick, before I answer those questions, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't want to get started, 10 being you are ready to be the next coffee millionaire right now, where are you?
Are you, you're asking me, Casey? Sorry.
I'm asking you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am. I'm asking you. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, sorry. A 7 or 8?
A 7 or an 8. So, Rhonda, what questions can I answer for you tonight that will get you from a 7 to a 10? And you're going to tell me exactly what I need to answer to get you in my business tonight. Instead of me having to guess or wonder or worry about it, Rhonda, and now I'm asking you, Rhonda, what questions can I answer tonight to get you from a 7 to a 10?
Well, I just, I'm a bit confused with, how many people I have to get started with. Like, do I have to put in 20 people, or, that's the part that's confusing for me.
And see, what's so exciting about all the people we have on the line tonight is you're going to know how to actually address and answer her questions. You're going to know how to say, well, Rhonda, do you know 2 people out of the 255 million people in North America? Do you know 2 people who drink coffee or tea at least occasionally that we can work together and get 2? 2 doesn't have to be the minimum or the maximum, but that is how many you have to get. Do you believe, Rhonda, that you and I working together, we could find 2 people who would be willing to sample the coffee for free and hear the information? And we just move forward. We just move forward from there. Really quick, if you use that, I use that one a lot on a scale of 1 to 10 because your time, as is mine, is so valuable. I don't have time to waste with Rhonda if she's a 1 because then I know she's not in my business. Here's a rule of thumb. Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you don't want to get started, 10 being you want to get started right now. Anything less than a 5, sell them a box of coffee and move on to the next one. If they tell you I'm a 3, they're trying to find a polite way of telling you they don't want anything to do with your business. And you say, great, out of 3, what you're telling me is that you're more interested in making sure you leave with a box of coffee tonight, and then you can do your research or whatever, right? And I just turn that into a coffee sale, and then it's on to the next one. But the exciting thing about that, anything a 5 or above, they are ready to get into your business. They are waiting for you to ask them to join. But a lot of times what happens, if we don't give people the right direction, we kind of spin in circles. So if I'm asking somebody, what questions do you have, they could ask me any off-the-wall question. But if I'm asking them, what questions can I answer for you tonight, that will make you ready to get started tonight. That brings a whole different magnitude to the quality of your conversation with your new prospect. They're sitting there, and in the back of their business mind, whether they have a brand new business mind or not, they're sitting there and they're going, wow, this person knows what they're doing. I can put my guests, my prospects, my friends and family in front of this person because those aren't pushy things that she's asking or he's asking me, but they know their stuff. And let's say you don't know the answer to a question, and they ask you, well, how many people do you have to be qualified? And I'm getting ready to sponsor Rhonda, and she asked me that question, and I say, well, I don't know. You know what's so exciting? I'm working with a woman by the name of Marianne Note, and she is absolutely incredible. First female diamond in the company worldwide, and what I'm going to do is allow her to come answer some of your questions. Absolutely incredible. I know our time is really valuable, but I bet you I could squeeze 2 minutes of her time because I know that you said that you were looking to create X number of dollars on a weekly basis, or that you had income goals or goals to be home with your family. And then you bring in a third-party person, and Marianne's going to ask the same questions. You're going to get to know them, connect with them, and Marianne will be able to answer those questions. Now, obviously, if Marianne is not your direct upline, you might not be able to call on Marianne because there's only one of her to go around. But if you're brand new, you're going to go to your plugged-in upline if you're unable to answer those questions and let them do it. They're more than happy to come on, and Mr. Dave Doyle and Miss Kristen, they're more happy than to come on board and say, hey, he or she has told me so much about you, and they're going to ask the same follow-up questions because these questions are designed to move you toward the goal, which is getting them started right then and there. Some of the words and the verbiage, because the words are so important, I do use things like high priority. On a scale of 1 to 10, I know you said you're a 7. But Rhonda, I want to make sure you understand that there is something to be said for timing and positioning. This is where you give them your goal. Let's say they have questions. Okay, while you're going to do your research, you should secure your position of equity or take advantage of first mover's advantage. Secure your position because our team's getting ready, and if you're in the organization at all, it's we. It's our team. If you don't have a goal, borrow somebody else's. Borrow your upline diamond's goal. Listen, we're getting ready to put $2 or $3 million worth of revenue into the company, getting ready to launch new countries. And there will be people, because they take advantage of timing and positioning, who have entire countries positioned beneath them, who have the opportunity to benefit from the millions of dollars in revenue that's coming in. So based on the fact, I use that a lot, based on the fact, because you want to give them those facts, based on the fact that volume flows up, would you rather be at the bottom or the top? And again, don't answer for them. Let them answer. So, Rhonda, what would you say if I said, listen, Miss Martin, that's so weird we have the same last name, but
I know.
Miss Martin, listen, based on the fact that we're getting ready to put $2 million in revenue into the organization, in the structured revenue, into the organization over the course of the next 60 days, and volume flows up, would you rather be at the bottom of that volume or at the top?
Well, of course, the top.
Of course.
So are you saying Casey, if I wait, then I might not get that? That means
what I'm saying, Rhonda, if you wait, the position that you could have today is going to go to somebody else. Do you want to give your position of equity to somebody else?
No.
And we want to make sure, and we should get that filled out. Where would you like to get started tonight? Bronze, silver, or gold?
Probably maybe a gold pack now if we're talking about, the momentum that we're talking about.
Absolutely. I figured you would pick that pack because Winners and Champions understand 20%. That's our most popular pack for those who go diamond anyway. So I figured that was the pack you would pick. Let's go ahead and go through this application. And you go right back into where do you want your emails sent, what card are you using, letting them know, listen, we issue 1099s at the end of the year or W-2s or whatever it is, and it's going to be issued either to your social or tax ID number. Which one would you rather use? And I don't know what you use in Canada, but I know you use one, so you ask the same question. So it's really important. It's all about the questions that you ask, and what you want to do is you want to practice these things. My husband and I do this all the time. You ever want to diffuse an argument or a tension-filled situation, all you do is ask questions. Because as soon as you answer a question, you've given the other person control. So I can remember very vividly, my husband and I don't argue. It's just not who we are or our personalities. But there was a discussion, a heated discussion we were having one time a couple of months ago. And I asked him a question, and then he asked me a question, and then I asked him a question, and then he asked me a question, and then I asked him a question, and he asked me a question. And that went back and forth for about 2 minutes. And we ended up just cracking up laughing because we knew what the other one was doing, and it diffused the whole situation, and it was like, hey, it really works because it gets down to the core and the root of where you want to go. Not where you are, but where you want to go. And by you asking these questions and practicing it, practice it with your upline, practice it with your brand new people. I'm telling you, if you can learn the art of communication, if you can learn how to think and speak in questions, it kicks in the imagination that Napoleon Hill talks about. Questions are designed to be thought-provoking. And if you can learn how to think and speak in questions, your business, it will be so much smoother for you. You won't ever be afraid of what do I say? What do I say? Because you might just ask another question. And then when you come together as a team to do these things, it's very simple. It's very easy to duplicate. What did you like best about what you heard or saw? And where do you see yourself getting started tonight? And then let them answer you. Now, if I ask, what did you like best, and somebody says, I like the money, well, they're not giving me enough. You gotta bring them to that place of imagination. You gotta bring them to that place of possibilities by asking them another question. And you gotta say, well, what do you mean by that? And just let the silence hang. Because even if you hear it on the line here, hold on, we're gonna let the silence hang for just a minute. It's uncomfortable. Somebody's going to fill the silence. And when they start talking, you're going to find out their why, that reason. Without having to go through a 20-hour training on the why, you're going to find out their motivation for building this business. And when you give that motivation back to them, so the real thing you're telling me is that you want to stay home with your kids. They know that you're listening. They know that you're connecting with them and that this is a teamwork business. And you will increase your effectiveness as a closer because all you're doing is being you. Because you're just going to have a conversation with them after that. Let your personality, let your excitement for the business, let your bubbliness, your detailedness, your funness, whatever it is, let it come out and show through your personality and the word choice that you use. But you've got to ask these questions. The best part about this, in meetings, if you have more than one guest that you're trying to close, you create a little half circle. And let's say I have four guests. They're all separate guests. And I can't close all four of them at the same time. I create this little half circle, and I go to the most positive person in that group first. I go to the most positive person in that group first, and I ask them those same questions. I completely ignore the other 3 people who are sitting there, and I go to the most positive person. And as I get them to fill out their application, guys, it's absolutely mind-blowing because the other people want to be part of the conversation, and in order for them to do that, they've got to be getting started. So let's say I've got 4 people, and I'm sitting with Rhonda because where I'm sitting facing all of my guests. I'm on the inside of the half circle facing all 4 guests, and Rhonda was the most positive person in that group. Sitting across from her, as I start walking her through her application, it's so fun because about 80% of the time, you look at the other 3 people, they start filling out their application because they're just looking for instruction. They're just looking for you to lead them for what to do next. Most people, they want to get started. And they're ready to get started. They just don't know what that means because they've never done it before. So they don't know what the next step is. And it's your job as the leader to let them know the next step is filling out your application, marking that gold pack, marking that case of auto ship, and getting started. It's really very simple. In one-on-ones, I ask the same thing. In one-on-ones, I spend a little bit more time. I dig into their why a little bit more. So if Rhonda and I just finished a flip chart, and I'm like, what did you like about it, Rhonda? And she tells me, I'm going to find out all of the things that she wants. I'm going to make her give me 5 or 10 things she's going to do with her $20,000 because I'm leading her to start thinking bigger, dreaming bigger. I've got to make sure that her dreams for the future are bigger than what other people are going to think or say about her. And so I got to get her to verbalize those, say them out loud, because then she's committed. If I get her to say out loud that she wants to spend more time with her kids, she's committed to getting started, because if she doesn't, she knows she's giving up on herself. But we don't have to know all of that. We just have to ask the questions. One-on-ones are amazing because you can find out, you get to the core, to the heart of people. The art of closing, I know I've said and mentioned a lot of things, and hopefully those things thus far have been helpful, but the real art of closing is listening, is me listening to what Rhonda wants, is me finding out how important is it, how many kids do you have. She might ask me, she might tell me, well, I loved the money because I want to stay home with my kids. Well, the next question, if I'm in a one-on-one, because I have time if I'm in a one-on-one, I might not do this in a meeting, but in a one-on-one, I'm going to ask her, how many kids do you have? How old are they? What are they into these days? What would you like to do with them? Where would you like to take them? Are you guys happy with where you live now, or do you want them to grow up in a different neighborhood? I'm going to ask her a lot more questions because I need to find out who she is. Because until I know who she is and what she wants, I really can't help her. And what's happening a lot of times is people sign people up without finding out a little bit about them, without asking them the questions. That's when people feel used. It's like, oh, wow, they're excited they got their silver pack or their gold pack or their whatever, but they don't really care why I'm doing it. They don't know where I come from. And if you invest 5 or 10 minutes in the close, see, it doesn't take forever, but if you invest some quality time in the close, your effectiveness with not only bringing people on board will increase, but in how long they stay in the business. People who are closed into the business the right way don't leave. They don't, because they know you have a vested interest in what can you do for them. See, if I'm asking them a question, if I'm asking Rhonda a question, what did you like about it? I have a concern. I have a genuine, how can I help you? It no longer becomes about me and my goal. It comes about my prospect, my guest, my friend, and how I can help them reach their goals. And it's so very simple. It's the art of asking the right questions and of listening, really, really listening to what they tell you. Because most people, they go unheard throughout the day by their spouse, by their kids, by their boss, by their coworkers. And when you ask them, what did you like best? And they realize that you're listening, they realize that you are exactly the person in their life they've been looking for, somebody who cares enough to listen to why they're putting their last $1,300 on the line, or why they have to come in bronze because they don't have any money, but they want to go gold. You're able to find what's in their heart, and there's nothing like being true and genuine to wanting to fulfill that need of another person that creates this foundation that is so solid. What happens when you close people into the business the right way, typically somebody closed into your business the right way, you just watch. They're your next platinum. They're your next sapphire. They're your next ruby. They're your next diamond. One, how you brought them into the business is exactly how they will bring people into the business, and they know your genuineness of teamwork, of a let's do it together because you cared enough to ask the right questions. On a three-way call, it's the exact same. If Marianne was getting ready to sponsor Rhonda, Miss Marianne was bringing on Miss Rhonda, and I'm Marianne's upline in this example, and she did a presentation, but Rhonda had more questions, and she needed that third-party verification. When she brings me on the line to do a three-way call, all three of us are on the line, and I'm going to ask Rhonda over the phone the exact same questions we've talked about. Well, Rhonda, Miss Marianne said you had some questions, but before we get into those questions, what did you like best about the information? What has piqued your interest about the information thus far? Because I still need to get to the same bottom line of why they would join the business. Because let's say 2 weeks go by, and some of us have them, right? Instant incubators, instant percolators. Like, hey, you bought your gold. I call Rhonda up, and I'm like, hey, listen, Rhonda, I know you got started 2 weeks ago. You bought your gold pack, and you haven't been on board. I haven't seen you for 2 weeks. What's going on? And Rhonda says, well, I'm so busy. I've got this going on and that going on. I say, Rhonda, let me ask you a question. You said you wanted to build this business because you wanted to spend time with your kids. Is the future possibility in the next 6 months to a year of being full-time mom, is that worth you giving me 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week of you and me sitting down and finding out if you're really serious about being stay-at-home mom or being able to travel or being able to take care of your ailing parents or whatever it is that they've given you? That's how you're able to lead people, because it's not about ordering them around and telling them, you have to do the 4 steps. You've got to create a list. You've got to do this, this, and this. Are those things important? Yes, but the way you engage them to do those things is important. Be engaging Miss Rhonda of, hey, listen, Rhonda, creating your list, this is going to help you be a stay-at-home mom. This is going to help you give up your job. You're able to constantly reinforce their why. That's why it's so very important. So on a 3-way call, the closing is the exact same. I might ask them on the 3-way call, well, listen, I know you've seen the information. I know this is your third time talking to Marianne and your first time talking to me. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being this isn't for you, 10 being you're ready to go, where are you? And let's say she says I'm a 9. And I say, okay, is a 9 mean you're really a 10 and you're ready to fill out the application? And a lot of times, again, I'm asking them a question. A lot of times they say yes. Sometimes people who say, well, I'm a 7. And I ask them, well, what is it going to take to get you from a 7 to a 10? They look at you like, well, I don't know. I guess I really don't have any questions. I say, well, then why don't we start filling out this application? Because you don't want your position to go to somebody else, right? And you just ask them. And once they verbalize it, they tell you, well, no, I don't want my position to go to somebody else. You have them. And by have them, I mean you have created the opportunity to help them achieve whatever dream or goal they've just told you. Not everybody's going to follow through on the dreams and goals they tell you, but if you follow these questions when you're closing, this is John C. Maxwell wrote a book called Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect. Asking the right questions is about connecting with the person, establishing that relationship. This is also, if anybody's having challenges in their group of, my people won't call me for questions, they reach around me and call my upline. It's never too late to ask these questions. If you have somebody in your business now and you don't know why they're involved, call them up and say, hey, listen, I'm making a list of the people that I want to help achieve their dreams, and why did you get involved in Organic Gold? What did you like best about it? And because I want to know how I can help you get where you want to go. And it's never too late to ask those questions. But it's all about asking the right questions, having the right posture, looking for the positive response. That's why you want to ask them, what did you like best? And then your upline, and through the course of staying plugged in, you'll get the right stories. You've got to trust the universe, your creator, divine intention, whatever it is you choose to call it. You've got to trust that because you're coming on board, you're taking action, that when the moment comes, if you study this skill set a little bit of the right questions, when the moment comes, you'll have the right words. You just have to trust that you'll have the right words. You'll end up saying things you had no intention of saying that were the right thing. And once you have that trust and that universal energy that you'll do it right, you just go out and do it. And then you do it again, and then you do it again. And pretty soon you become an expert, not because you're the best at the skill set, but because you have the most confidence because you know that it works. So, Rhonda, that's what we do and teach, and we teach our brand new people how to close out, because it's really very simple. Again, what did you like best about what you heard or saw? Based on that, where do you see yourself getting started tonight, bronze, silver, and gold? And then for somebody who has questions, well, before I answer those questions, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no, 10 being you're ready to go right now, where are you? It's literally just that simple. Whether it's a meeting, a one-on-one, a 3-way, those same questions are universal, they're duplicatable, and they're fun, because it's really how you connect with other people. So, Ms. Rhonda, I hope that was helpful, and that added some value and some benefit to the effectiveness of closing out meetings. And it's never too late as well. especially as we're closing in at the end of the month, you got a little less than 48 hours to go, your goals are still in reach. If you're within $10, $30, $40, $50,000 from your goal, you can still hit it. If you're a platinum right now, let me speak to the platinums very quickly. If you're on this call as a platinum right now, you can go back to people that saw the information 3 weeks ago and say, hey, listen, what did you like about the information? Because we're getting ready to launch a major incentive, and if anything piqued your interest, you don't want somebody to have your spot because we're getting ready to put in millions of dollars of volume. Would you rather be at the bottom or the top? You can go back and ask those who are in the pipeline. And if you're a platinum right now, I congratulate you on being one of the next sapphires closing out the end of May, because it is never too late. And when you use these things, you write down your goal, you believe it's possible, and you be blowing up Miss Martin's phone, Miss Bowl, Mr. Doyle, you be blowing up their phone saying, hey, listen, I need you to do a three-way call. I just closed out another person. I closed out another person, because it's never, ever, ever too late for people to know that you connect with them and that you care about where they're going. And let that, there's nothing wrong with you helping them get where they want to go if they're willing to do the action, taking you even farther beyond where you thought possible. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and share a little bit of how we close out here in Colorado and what we teach out here in our meetings.
Well, thank you, Miss Casey, for your words of wisdom. You know, that simplicity, again, sometimes we just try to overcomplicate things. And, you know, I think, like you said, you summed it up. It's just the art of listening. And putting these simple steps into place is going to absolutely powerhouse some people's business and step it up into the next level. So, again, I know you're tight on time tonight. Thank you so much for serving the team. It is absolutely appreciative, and we look forward to being able to give back to your team and see you at the top. Thanks again for a fabulous call and your insight on this information for the team.
Absolutely. Congratulations on all of your guys' success.
Thank you. And everyone, have a fantastic night, and let's run hard through the end of the month. Good night, everyone.